Hello, welcome to another episode of Full Circle with me, Onyx. And I kind of want to continue our discussions that we're having because it's kind of so vast, it's so broad. Occultism, magic, mystery, in all the disciplines. And how do you basically create yourself into a witch or a wizard or a mystic or a Buddha? A divine being, and the spiritual journey and the hazards of all this mass knowledge. So when I was like growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, you know, occultism wasn't easy access. And thanks to modern technology, globalization, and the younger generation feeling like, you know, everyone should have access to the truth. We should all know, we could make the world a better place. It shouldn't be held by the few. And so there was a time, I would say, in the late 90s where everyone thought it was their right to have access to this information. And then now what you see trending on YouTube is, they can't hide it anymore. It's out there, or the truth exposed, you know. So it's kind of like sensationalizing, we should have access to the mysteries. We should have all this knowledge. And the reality is a lot of people aren't equipped with it. The knowledge of weapons, lots of mass destruction. The knowledge of technology could now possibly destroy the human race. So there's that saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. A really good example, when I cut my finger on a saw when I was working in this place that some manufactured picture frames. Um, the person who was supposed to give me the anesthetic to numb the pain before they started stitching up my finger didn't want to hurt me. So she didn't put in the needle all the way. And so then what happened is the anesthetic didn't work on time. And so then they had to the guy just put it into the site of injury and then sewed it up. And I basically felt them sew my finger together. And out of her compassion for not wanting to give me more pain, she made the whole situation worse. Like, it became a disaster. It was like a 5-hour disaster happening on my hand. And that's just to illustrate. We think we think the gods should give us this power. It should be easy access. The guru should just grant you, love and light should just happen within one lifetime. And we really forget the long journey. The path to becoming a master is like a lifetime. It's like a lifetime achievement award. And you're recognized as master after like 60 years of devotion to your craft. You got gray hair, you're old, and you're passing this knowledge on to the future generation. So a lot of information comes to me, like literally all the time. 24 hours, there's this psychic link of information that I'm connected to. And it comes in waves of themes of what's going on. And you personally have to be ready to receive it and understand it and then unpack it and then deliver it. And some of the thoughts in my mind is like all this discord, all these people with a cause, whether it's gender rights or whatever it is. I'm like, they're pointing the finger at so and so. And I'm like, can you really hold up a case if you were blaming Buddha? You know, patriarchy, men are scum, and, and it's all men's fault, and men are infantile, and what's wrong with men these days? And then the Buddha, the statue of Buddha is just there, you know, and or whether you have issues with women. And there's a statue of Kuan Yin, you know, and it's like, so I feel like a lot of arguments really lose any validity. And the people who are spewing out all this content have no ground because they have nothing, they have no foundation of their own. All they are is a voice spewing out toxicity, more of the problem, none of the solutions. But their case has no foundation. So, what I've experienced, I'm going to have to call it the white demon. The white demon is a term I picked up reading this really great book on African shamanism. And basically, it's education, being educated by the white man way back when. And so, this character, this is actually a true life story of a practicing African shaman. And basically, he was kidnapped from his tribe and taken to a French Catholic school, like boarding school, and kind of converted, kind of raised to be this. Anyways, the boy runs away and goes back to his tribe, but he has to be deprogrammed. He has to be unconditioned so he could enter the tribe and learn shamanism like his grandfather and his father and the men that were the shamans in their tribe. And this really rings true because, like, when I go to all these like spiritual circles, whether it's astrology or card readings or whether it's just spiritual groups people who want to pray together, in a, I would call, more universal new age approach, they're always dropping the word Jesus. They're always saying Jesus this and Mother Mary and angels. And it's like people can't drop the program. They can't drop this Christian mythology. They can't drop it. The idea that there's different levels of heaven. What's the difference? Be saying, densities. People can't drop myths. People can't drop stories. And when it's all put together, it's a lot of emotionalism, a lot of storytelling, a lot of hope, a lot of faith, and the same old rituals. Prayer, pray in a circle, whether it's a god or a goddess, it doesn't matter. Fold your arms, close your eyes, bow your head, and it's like, so we have to be careful because it's like a lot of people's only reference point is religion. And this shows up in occultism as well. The old timers would be like, the way to learn ritual is to study a Roman Catholic mass perception, and that's what true ritual is like. And I'm like, they stole that originally from occultists. So, anyways, so you have to be willing to deconstruct your beliefs, your attitudes, yourself, even. And you have to realize it's you and the universe only. There's a point where you have to drop it all and just be with the unknown. To call it source, to call it the great mind, to call it the I am, you're still labeling it, you're conditioning it, you are grasping it with your mind. You're making it human, and you can't get out. So you have to go to that unknown place, that beginner's mind. And things, haven't you noticed things that are exciting are things you really have no understanding and comprehension about? It's unknown. The next step is a mystery, and you find yourself in the mystery. Like the first time you went on a roller coaster, it had all of your attention. You were so charged. And so it's kind of hard to go back and redo something again. It's not the same. It's lost its luster, the energy and the excitement, because you knew too much about it. You know, it's not as interesting. So we overwork things. And then in contrast, we don't work hard enough. So that was the one point I wanted to talk about. The other one, it's always discipline. And it's the enjoying the process, understanding process, and savoring and falling in love with the process, because the process is where you get the experience. It's where you get the knowledge. You could literally call what you learned in the experience during the process as your true education towards mastership, towards the development and cultivation. The true cultivation of magic power is attention to the process. Like, sometimes we get like result oriented. Like, say you're doing a spell to bring a lover into your life, and you gather the herbs, you do the chant, and you whatever it is, and then you're waiting for your lover, and you're gonna write down in your journal the results and whatever, and you missed class, you missed the learning. Like, there was a lot of learning in how your intuition guided you to whatever herbs, or intuitively whatever words, and how you constructed it, how you brought it together. And it's a little intellectual. There's a little thought going on there. There's a little bit of gathered knowledge. There's a little bit of years of experience. There's a little craft to it. But there's a doing. There's this experience that happens. Like, I remember once I was doing a spell to like kind of like trap and confuse someone, and while I was creating this magical maze sigil, I found myself getting trapped and confused in the maze. And then I found myself going into the sigil and then coming out again. And I went on this like total journey, like inner shamanic, psychic, mind melting journey through this sigil. And I was just kind of experimenting. And that's when I was like, whoa, this is powerful stuff. One wrong turn of however I was constructing the sigil, I think it was with a pen and paper. One wrong turn or twist, I could have locked myself in a symbol for time and all eternity. Who knows? Part of me could be flung out into the universe in some cell dimension somewhere, dimension inside of a dimension inside of a dimension. Basically, I was definitely moving through a few different dimensions, and I was like, dangerous stuff. Simple magic, we look at the surface. Ooh, tie a red bow to bind your enemy. That was so simple, right? So novice, so not special. Hours of sweating and chanting and summoning. No, I literally just grabbed a red ribbon and tied it and ended my enemy. Bound her power forever. But in that binding of her power, I sometimes wonder and worry, did I bind some of my own? So you become very cautious, but also very observant, very aware, very present with what you're doing. And when you're, so it's like, I remember when I first, so we're going to backtrack a little bit to when I first started playing with magic. I was playing with runes. And I found out that when I did spells for others, they always worked. So I could help someone get an A, I could help someone, get the girlfriend back and things like that. And it was very unconscious, do a little bit of motion, a little bit of intuition, a little bit of artistic creativity, kind of go with this intuitive impulse to improvise my magic without too much thought. And it was so effective. You know, People's lives were changing. I was doing magic for fun. I was doing it for them, and I was doing it for people I cared about. And I even did it for myself. It was so easy to attract a boyfriend. I'd mix runes with feng shui, and over and over and over again, it would always work. And I would say that was like superficial magic, getting what you want. And then my interest moved towards more abstract things, like a sense of fulfillment, moving through time and space and other dimensions, and just going beyond. And so my wants and desires, the realm of everyday life, wasn't satisfying me. So I feel like I moved into sorcery. And I became the magic, basically. And it was like such a different level. And the knowledge you gain through doing it, like, it's like, so what's really weird is I don't do much magic anymore, because every time I do, it's like magic is done to me. As much as I do magic, it moves to me and through me and of me, and it's crazy. And so I'm more careful with it, more cautious. I don't fear it, and I never did. So I don't really get paranoid about it. I don't believe in good and evil. I don't believe in enemies. And sometimes you have to have beliefs, certain beliefs, and repeat them to yourself to keep you sane. You know, it's like you might be swimming with sharks, and if you could actually see clearly, it would scare you. So sometimes you just have to have tunnel vision to go through the territory, and then maybe arrive on the other side. Then take off the blinders and go, whoa, I was swimming in shark infested water. But because I didn't know they were there, I wasn't giving off those pheromones. I wasn't swimming in a unnatural way. So the sharks didn't feel a disturbance and didn't attack me. So sometimes there is a power in having certain beliefs that serve you, but you installed those, and they are installations to keep you sane, to keep you safe. And then, so you can, uh, in magic and wizardry especially, you install beliefs, but then you also um, take them down. You can uninstall them as well. So you insert programs, and the key is it's your choice, and it's by the power of your will. It's your desire. So, and you work with it. You experiment with it. You take it. You run with it. Get all you can out of it, and then maybe you move on. Then maybe you switch. But it's been my observation that. So I've also realized, I call it going vertical. Uh, the more you deal in the affairs of humans, the more you're bound to the affairs of humans. The more you're probably going to have to come back in another lifetime and deal with them. So for every binding, you're going to have to unbind it. For every place you did magic, you're going to have to remove, you're going to have to extract your energy eventually. So that becomes part of soul retrieval. Some people like to use the word recapitulation. But basically, wherever you've left imprints, you might want to erase them and take all that energy and power back. So if you're feeling low or depleted in your magical practice, it's because you've probably imprinted on places too much. So I feel like becoming non-important, becoming like a phantom or a ghost, is kind of what really powerful sorcerers do. You won't remember an encounter with us because we remove our energy. Therefore, there's no memory. There's no emotional response to record that memory. So I do a lot of erasing. And when I feel like bonds or impressions are getting too strong, I erase them. I go, I don't know for sure if I'm coming back. I don't know if I really want to, but I would like to have those options. So I am notorious for erasing myself out of situations. And isn't that what death is? You kind of erase yourself. You're still here, but you erase your body. You erase, for most people, that's the end. Yeah, this stuff gets kind of deep. So go get attached and then learn to be unattached. So, yeah, there's a lot with magic. A lot. And I would say so much of it has to do with things that are beyond the 3D, five senses reality. The things that control, the things that most people are interested in. Security, which could be money and health. And I would say fame or attention, getting attention from others, which would be love relationships. There has to be a point where you move on that none of this is satisfying. So a deep dissatisfaction is the sign to move on with your life, whether it's that job or whether it's that relationship, or most likely your patterns, your psychology. You need to move on and you've outgrown them and you're depressed. So I guess we kind of didn't get too much into the discipline, but I kind of referenced it saying, expect you to start to get good or get a clue about magic, after you put in a good 20 to 30 years. And yeah, you're going to learn all the way. And each step, you're going to feel like you're awesome and you're making stuff happen. But the magic changes as you become more aware. And as your abilities develop, you develop new skills. And I was like, and obviously have fun with it too. Like, it's weird. There's just so much I want to say in fun ways too. But then it could also be misunderstood. Because you might find you have strange abilities that naturally happen through meditation. That there is no reason to cast a spell or grab a stone because you have acquired an ability. Like the ability to kill with a word, with a thought, with a feeling, with an intention. And so, usually, when you start acquiring abilities like that, you have to have at least enough mental and emotional control. There's the kind of chaotic way of doing it, but then there's also the controlled way of doing it. So, this is also why I recommend be cautious, be observant of all the nuances happening during your practice in magic, during your education, in the self development. There's a total transformation of the self. People drop the word, ooh, transformation. We're going to give you some knowledge and you're going to transform. Kind of, yeah, that's very surface. The transformation is happening through the education of the experience and your ability to be aware of all the little nuances that are shifting you, changing you. So, definitely have, there's so much to say. It's hard to pack into one video or 10 videos. You have to have a core a philosophy, and you have to have a value system. And a lot of it is to create a structure that you may have to rip up later, but you need some type of foundation to act as guiding lights, posts, to give you a framework to deepen your knowledge, to create a container for this. And the art of discipline, like choosing to meditate and doing it wrong for years and years and years, it disciplines you, and it gives you a power so then when powers are bestowed upon you, your years of kind of messed up meditative practice, it becomes so disciplined. It becomes functional. So it's like you had a gun and you were learning to shoot with a gun, but you were never given bullets. Then all of a sudden, some divine power gives you the bullets. Oh, now you have the bullets and you know how to shoot the gun, and you put it together. That's kind of what happens. So you can learn this outward magic and you can become disciplined with it. And really all you need is meditation. The art of sitting. 5 minutes a day, or however it is for you, once a week, a commitment, a desire. So I'll go through stages. So right now I'm in a stage where I'm doing no meditation and I'm feeling emotionally out of balance. So that's what I need to do. Other times where I'll meditate 3 times a day, 5 times a day, 6 hours a day. During work, to and from work, I'll meditate. I'll be in some type of meditative state for days, weeks, months, of various levels. And then there's other times where it's just in the morning for 5 minutes. And whoa, that was really powerful. And so I would say just that simple practice has given me so many powers. I was like, what a strange superhero or villain I am, because I don't got super speed. I can just grab a bird out of the sky and throw it at you. Okay, or I'll just lay down and mess with your mind 1,000 miles away. These are abilities I've acquired through playing with the occult. Some of them are, and they usually work when it's necessity and playfulness, kind of like curiosity, playfulness, and necessity. So it's not happening because there's this courageous need and I'm fighting for justice. Depending. But I find when there's a real need, there's this reservoir of power that comes to me. But it was the hours of meditation that becomes a focusing lens that helps me control that power. So basically, I'm just going to say all there is power. And all your job is to do is learn how to control yourself, because that power moves through you. You are the channel. And at this level, you can't really write it down to give to humanity. And maybe it's just something you created for yourself. Like you embody it. You become the wizard. You become the sorcerer. You become the god. You become yourself. You become your unlimited potential. Or you're at least dawning on it. It's like the world can't give you, but you can give yourself. And meditation gives you yourself. And you can be superficial with it. You can be really deep with it. But it all depends on you. And so you're kind of like polishing the diamond. You're taking this crystal called diamond, you're putting it through some type of pressure, some type of abrasive process. You even cut the crystal into a certain shape. You and the diamond, you, the one creating the diamond, shaping the diamond, polishing it, setting it, all that. You are working on yourself, but that you are the diamond too. So it's been worked upon you. You play all these parts in the creation of you, and you've been doing it forever anyways. So, like you're a sword. You got to take care of it. You have to build it yourself. You have to take care of it. You have to learn to wield it. You have to learn to put it away. And then you have to learn when you need to use it. So I think Star Wars is a great example of that. But the samurai and the ninja are really great examples of that. And it's all you. In a weird way, that's all I can say. It's all you. So I think a novice would learn from someone else. Eventually, to be the master, you must learn from yourself. You must go. Masters seem to be originals, bringing forth something new. There has to be a point where you become original and your magic is original.